Lesson before, Part 2, Flowchart. A flowchart is a pictorial representation of the steps or an algorithm used to solve a particular problem. Flowchart provides a much better way of solving a problem than writing a lot of descriptive text. We usually do this while writing an algorithm. Here's an important fact. Flowcharts were introduced by Frank Gilbert in 1921 and were initially called process flowcharts. Flowchart symbols. A flowchart uses different symbols to represent different types of instructions which are connected to each other with the help of flow lines, like start or stop box, input or output box, processing box, decision or condition box, flow lines, and finally connectors. Let's talk about the functions of each of the symbols mentioned earlier. Start or stop box. It's used in the beginning and the end of a flowchart. Input or output box. It's used for accepting input or giving output of the program. Take a look. Processing box. It's used for writing processing instructions and doing calculations like this. Decision or condition box. It's used for checking or applying any condition in the program. Flow lines. Flow lines show the direction in which the control of the program is moving. These arrows are used to connect various geometrical symbols in a flowchart. Please take a look. On-page connector. It's used to join the parts of a flowchart contained within the same page. Take a look. Off-page connector. It's used to join the parts of a flowchart on different pages. Please have a look at it. Features of a flowchart. A flowchart should only have one start and one stop symbol, like this. The general direction of flow in a flowchart should be from top to bottom or from left to right. The flow lines should not cross each other ever. If a flowchart occupies more than one page, then off-page connector should be used to direct the flow of information, like this. Now let's draw a flowchart to calculate the sum, difference, and product of two numbers. Let's begin. Step 1. Input two numbers A and B. So we are going to use the input-output box. Step 2. Find the sum. Sum equals A plus B. Since it's a process, we put this in the processing box. Step 3. Print sum. Printing is showing out something to the user, so we're going to use the input-output box. Step 4. Find the difference. Difference equals A minus B. Finding the difference is a process, so we put this in the process box. Step 5. Print difference. We put this in the input-output box. Step 6. Find the product. Product equals A into B. So it's a process, and hence we use the processing box. And finally, print product. We're going to put this on the screen, so we use the input-output box. There we go. And every flowchart begins with the start and stop box and ends with a start and stop box. So here we are. And finally, we connect all the symbols with the help of flow lines. There we go. And we have the flowchart to calculate the sum, difference, and product of two numbers. Advantages of a flowchart. First, communication. Since flowchart is a pictorial representation, it provides better communication. Flowchart makes it easy for the programmer to explain the logic of a program. Two, effective analysis. Since flowchart is a pictorial representation of the steps needed to solve the problem, it helps the programmer to analyze the problem in detail. Third, proper documentation. Flowcharts serve as a good program documentation which is needed for various purposes to solve the problems. Four, efficient coding. Flowcharts acts as a roadmap for the programmer. It gives them a clear understanding of the steps they need to take while writing a program. Five, proper debugging. Bug means an error or a mistake, and debugging simply means removing the errors or mistakes. So using the flowchart, we can systematically detect, locate, and remove mistakes from a program. Six, efficient program maintenance. The maintenance of operating a program becomes easy with the help of a flowchart. It enables the programmer to put in more effort. Disadvantages of a flowchart. First, complex logic. Sometimes a program logic is quite complicated. In that case, a flowchart becomes complex and clumsy. 2. Alteration and modification. If alteration, which means changes, are required, then flowchart may require complete redrawing. Third, reproduction. As the flowchart symbols cannot be typed, reproduction of flowchart becomes a problem. That brings us to the end of lesson 4, part 2.